Wait for me to press the button. Hey, we did it. Yeah, okay. So moving on from this meeting being maybe recorded, we actually are now, thank God. Have we all added the testing and or CI group calendars to PTO Ninja so that it syncs your calendar to the relevant thing? Because I just went to add my holidays to the top of this document and it's really tedious and annoying. So if we all add them calendars, if we haven't already, that'd be great because we can get rid of this thing at the top. Unless people like it, it's just, yeah, it gets out of date pretty quick. Cool. Q3 OKRs. So this is the bigger thing I wanted to talk about. So I've finally finalized them. I know I brought them up last week, but they were very much in draft. So if you click through on that link in the document, there's two objectives. Advanced Verifies front-end technology platform, which is a fancy way of saying do all of the GraphQL things, and maintain a healthy team. So I'm not going to be tracking what you eat and where you go work out or anything. It's not that kind of health. So this is the first one, establishing a system for measuring team health. This is something that Darby's doing at a slightly like on a verified level. It's something we need to sort of, well, or I guess I need to start monitoring and send it up to him. I don't fully know what that'll look like just yet, but it's you know, it's a high level sort of thing, like how are you feeling day to day sort of thing, and we'll bring that up so that it's, you know, we're keeping track of how you all are.
Oh, so it's like it is like a health thing, like a physical health, mental health thing, and not like
yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was like a how many merge requests the
No.
team itself is, and are we healthy in that regard?
No, it's more I guess mental health. Like how are you doing? How are you feeling? How are you feeling motivated? Are you feeling all that sort of thing? You know, I'll when I know more about this, I'll share more on that. But yeah, you're right. It's personal health rather than like how are we doing with issues. Well, I guess anyway. Yes, and on that as well. So maintain a healthy team. That's kind of the theme of the objective. So taking off at least 5 days in the next quarter. So this is PTO. This doesn't include public holidays. So try and book in at least 5 days this quarter. I think we had the last OKRs were for 3 days. We've upped it to 5. I want to keep this kind of going just to make sure you're all taking the breaks you need. You're obviously not going to get told off if you go either way on this. It's just a metric, but yeah, I would encourage you to take the time off you need. Have a GraphQL expert on the team, so I've snuck a GraphQL one in this as well. Being a GraphQL expert is largely self-identified, so there's having a GraphQL expertise, which you can just add to your profile at any time that you want in the team.yaml to say, hey, I like working in this. If you need some help with it, you know, come see me. And then there's the slightly higher level, which is what this is going for, where you can actually have, like Natalia does, where you can be a GraphQL expert. So when we've done enough of these features and things, I hope that at least one of you will be able to, or feel comfortable enough saying that you're a GraphQL expert, and then that gets approved by other GraphQL experts on the team, and then you get this nice little tag on your profile. And the last one, hire and onboard a new front-end engineer in continuous integration. So I'd kind of touched on this at the beginning. We've put out an offer for someone in CI to hire them in. We're still waiting on hearing back from them there, so I can't share any more details than basically that. But hopefully by the end of the quarter, they'll have been hired, they'll have been onboarded, and will be a fully fledged up and running member of the CI team, which is good news. Any questions about that objective before I move on to the other one?
I think it's awesome.
Great. Cool. Next objective, product. So this is the one that keeps the rest of the company happy. So Advancing Verify's front-end technology platform. This is kind of all around GraphQL, and there's some cheeky Bootstrap stuff in there as well. So add 6 new GraphQL front-end integrations. So this is like a really loose metric of figuring out how much GraphQL we're using. Basically, there's I'm doing a grep on the directories that we use to see if there are any GraphQL files. Currently, there's 0, but when some of the MRs that we've got in flight start going in, we'll add more and more, and the aim to be 6 by the end of the quarter. It just makes it a little bit easier to measure than specifically saying convert all of this feature into GraphQL. Like we can then we've got a bit more flexibility in where we go with this one. I think we can do 6. I think 4 was the conservative effort, but 6 is like a more of a lofty goal. Does that one make sense? Because that can be a bit of a weird one, that one.
Yeah, I have a question like around that though.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, like in parallel, would it be nice to because like to have GraphQL first, we still have a lot of features that are still in HAML. So like in parallel, could we potentially have an OKR to convert some of those features to Vue? Like is that like on the roadmap at any time?
It's not as such, but in having the GraphQL one, if that HAML to Vue is a prerequisite for it. So if we track the one, we kind of bring up the other one, if that makes sense. If you can identify some actual places, then for migrating from HAML to Vue, then I would say add them to this OKR just as a comment or whatever. Oh, and then we can make sure that like, okay, to get to GraphQL, here's some things that we might need to do first. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, that's good. That's awesome.
Cool. Any more on that one before I move on? Okie doke. The next one, replace 15 or more Bootstrap instances in HAML. I might reword the title on that because it doesn't make too much sense. But if you click through to it, there's a lot more information. So basically, there's a much bigger OKR that I'm helping with, where we want to get Bootstrap out of our code base, right? So that we can actually remove bootstrap.js, which in turn, I think, is the only thing stopping us removing jQuery. So we'll have some pretty big performance increases from removing Bootstrap. What we're doing at the moment is we're identifying all of the places where Bootstrap is, and then trying to create epics with sub-issues in each issue is like remove Bootstrap from this component or this file or whatever. So there's lots of small issues in that. Like they'll take 10, 15 minutes, maybe an hour or two for some of the more complex ones. So that's why that number of 15 is so high, because we want to help out with this, and a lot of other stages have this or similar OKRs around replacing these Bootstrap instances in HAML. If you go through to that key result, there's a linked epic that links, I was going to say all of the places where we need to replace things, but it lists some of the places because I've not got around to doing the rest of them yet, but they will be added eventually.
Is it exclusively for AML component? Because I know we have some Bootstrap classes still in some Vue components as well.
Yes and no. So this OKR and the one that I've referenced inside this is specifically HAML. There's a separate one for Vue, but that's a UX OKR. Yep, that's the face I pulled. It does kind of make sense that, it's more things like changing classes and buttons and things. So it's something that you can, UX can go in and help with. Whereas some of these are a little bit more like you might need to create a view wrapper in order to remove Bootstrap. So yeah, the Haml stuff is front end's OKR. The view stuff is mostly UX's OKR, but this one we're just focusing on Haml. Also, we can remove as much Bootstrap as we like from Vue, but we still rely on GitLab UI, which relies on Bootstrap View, which relies on Bootstrap, right? So removing it from Haml just means we stop including Bootstrap twice.
Which, I mean, I think it's just good.
Short story, we're never getting away from Bootstrap, huh? It's
just when you think you've got rid of it.
Whenever you hammer a class out, 5 of them pops out. Like it's impossible. It's always there.
But yeah, so this is a part of a much bigger OKR. Quality are involved in making sure that things don't creep back in. It goes all the way up to Eric, this one. So we're trying to help out as much as we can. Again, if you go in there, there's tracking for each month and things, but I'll take care of all the tracking stuff. But if you get a spare few minutes to do something or whatever, just jump in and pick off some of them. Again, more on that probably later. The last one, each team member completing a GraphQL training course on front-end masters. Now, I know everyone is signed up for this apart from Scott, because I said, sorry, Scott, I didn't mean to call you out there, but I did previously say, like, if this doesn't seem worthwhile to you, then don't bother, kind of thing. That still stands. The OKR is for everyone to complete one, but if we hit everyone barring one, that's also fine. Also, if you want access to front-end masters, you're welcome to do that at any point. So yeah. But yeah, if you go in there and just self-identify and say, yes, you may do that, but I can't verbally say what you've just said because we're recording this one. Yeah, what am I going? Yes. So when you've completed a course on there, just go in and put a check next to your name, and then we can just track that pretty easily. It's already at 20%. Has somebody been in and edited this, or have I made a typo? Fred.
Because I already completed one, like even before it was an OKR. So I just updated the percentage. So we're 20% there.
Love it. Love it.
Carry
I thought
the
I made
team.
a typo.
I'm actually halfway through the course that Fred took.
So that's 30% then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost.
But yeah, no, I mean, again, this is throughout the whole quarter, so don't feel rushed to do this, but if you can get one sorted throughout the thing, and that's it for all of them, really. Any general questions, anything you think that's missing, or anything you're worried about, or anything?
I think it's pretty representative of what we're working on, and I mean, like half of it is like pushing GraphQL, so that's good. So it's like it all kind of relates to that, and I like that having a GraphQL expert is into maintain a healthy team. It's like it's good for our mental health to have GraphQL.
Yeah, it was more that one of you would feel confident enough to put yourself forward was how I shoehorned it into the healthy team thing. But yeah, no, I like that way of thinking of it.
Or like having an expert make us want to like put all of the GraphQL work onto that person's plate so everyone else feels better.
This looks good. Thanks for doing this work, Sam.
I'll be honest, I copied a lot of it from Darby's work.
That's how it goes. That's That's what it's for. You know, we all just copy the managers. I mean, Darby copied his manager's thing probably.
Exactly. Yeah.
Same
Like
thing
to
with
the point
code.
where when I created this, the issue title still had Darby's title in it, and I had to go back and edit it.
Yeah, like Peyton says, same thing with code. We just all copy Stack Overflow at some point.
Yep, that's exactly right. I'm just componentizing the OKRs and DIY, yeah, dry OKRs.
Yeah, we're probably all using some code someone written back in 1998, and it's just got passed down over the years.
I mean, at least we're not using, I don't know if you saw that in Slack, but like we're not using like is odd or is even package on NPM, which I think is, it's like, it's a package to tell you if a number is odd. It's a package that's to tell you if a number is even, and it depends on the package that tells you if the number is odd. And they've never heard of modulo operator, I think. So everyone, like, it has like millions of downloads weekly. Like, it's a very widely used package. And when you think of the implication, it's like, this is the security nightmare. You shouldn't need to use this. But like people are like, sure, like is even, I'm just going to call this function. It's going to tell me.
In fairness, I have not used the modulo operator in like a very long time.
I mean, you don't usually need it.
It's like, it's one of those things you didn't really need in real life, but you needed a lot in college.
Yeah.
For some reason.
I use
like
I feel like I use modulo a lot more than I thought I would, but I can't think of any examples off the top of my head now.
Well, Fret's got a good one, finding a even or odd number.
Very useful when you want to discriminate against user. If your ID is even, then here's what we're going to do with you. We're going to have a completely different experience at GitLab.
A/B testing. That's how they do A/B testing. Only 50% though.
I just naively did a search for a modulo operator in the GitLab code base and forgot that 99% of it's written in HAML.
I think like some library for tables use it because you can go, I'm going to change the styling for even number row. So you can have like a dark background and a light background. I think that's the only application that I found.
I see one in dashboard.view where it is number of panels even, and it's total panels modulo 2 is equal to 0. So is even right there.
That's good. I tried to do the same search for that in view files, but I get a lot of sprintf and all that.
We actually have a function called isOdd that does exactly.
I just found that. That's good.
Number utils.
I mean, I guess it's explicit.
It's kind of clever.
Yeah.
I feel like I've definitely used the modulo operator like a lot, but it clearly isn't at GitLab because there's very few of them here. It's probably in things like Project Euler or whatever, where it's, them code problems that are totally theoretical that are just about seeing what you can do. That is very similar to like college level coding.
Yeah, if you implement like basic algorithms or data structure, you might need it. Like, I don't know, like you might, sometimes you might do something. It's like, well, if I wanted to alternate between like my sort between like even and odd numbers, and here's how I'm going to do it. And there are a couple of clever ways you can use. Even like, I would say also, I used it recently for like not on GitLab, but like for a reduce function. I don't remember why, but you had to alternate the keys so that each key had a different starting value. So you could go and reduce it and use a model or something. But it's completely theoretical, and it wasn't using anything concrete. It was just to make something like nice. So it is like college level programming in that sense.
I've just found what I used it for. So I don't know if anyone's seen, the dashboard I made for like tracking my issues and things. It was used for converting milestones back to actual dates, where I'm doing like milestone plus month modulo 12 or whatever it was to try and set it back to an actual, because JavaScript dates are insane. And is it months zero index, but days aren't, or maybe the other way around? It's balmy, but
Yeah,
yeah,
something weird like that.
that's what it was for.
I always have to Google that format. There's no way I can remember it. My brain's just not capable.
You didn't want to bring in the whole moment.js library to your dashboard.
I did bring in what's the other one called? The more
Luxem.
modular one. It's like date FNS or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I brought that in for something or other. But yeah, I never thought about using it for this, I guess.
Did you say that they're changing, like in the ES spec, they're bringing a new date API? So we're going to have an actual working good date API in JavaScript soon.
Wow, that's cool. I need to look that up.
Yeah, let me find it if I can.
I wonder how good though.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it working.
I'm sure if it's
good.
not good, they're gonna have a public outcry among all the JS engineers in the world.
To be fair now, but like the GS, like the ES approval system, it has to be very thorough. Like a lot of people need to approve this before it goes into production. The same way that, now we have flat, but at some point it was smush, right? Like it didn't go through because people were outraged about using a function called smush. So I have high hope for the dates API. We'll see.
Imagine being someone like the people who develop moment or date functions or whatever, and then they're like, oh yeah, we're introducing this in actual JavaScript. You're like, oh, go get a different job then, I guess.
Yeah, or maybe I assume a lot of code bases have that package put in there. They'll probably be afloat for a while until they refactor to use the other one, or the native API.
This is why I like things like Babel so much, where as soon as it becomes like deprecated, it's gone and it's fine. Like not Babel itself, but like the JavaScript things when they were bringing them into ES6 and 7 and 8 or whatever, however you want to word them with the years or the numbers. But I'm just opening Fred's link now.
I mean, they're looking for feedback. So if you have a spare hour and you want to try it out, and you can tell them just how good or sucky it is.
Is temporal, is that the thing that they're adding?
Yeah, because they can't add it as date, right? Because it's going to break half the web. So they have to use another word.
That first paragraph talking about the history of dates is crazy. But also
I love how
makes
they
sense.
say modern date/time API to kind of say, well, hey, the other one wasn't working so good, so we're going to use modern.
I mean, 1997, based on the Java util for dates, it was a different era.
JavaScript, I mean, it says it here, but it was like a 10-day hackathon project. And now it's like probably the most widely used language on the web. And they've not updated it as much as they should have done. Like it's like the most ship the prototype thing that I think I've ever seen.
I mean, it was way back when all web application or so were going Java route, and then they just wanted something to tweak some DOM elements, and it's like click here, and we send this to our Java API, instead of like this big web application that are deployed now that are just so gigantic. But it's nice that they're at least trying that out, because it's really ugly to have to import a moment or Luxem or date FS just to just so that you can handle a date and a time zone. It's like JavaScript is the web language, so time zones are everywhere.
We should just
Sorry,
add this proposal polyfill into our project, into GitLab. Sneak it in.
We were literally just talking about a potential use case for this in the testing call, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, like formatting milliseconds into something that makes sense should be easy, but might not be. Was the TLDR of that one?
Yeah, there's a in the datetime utility, there's a format time function that takes milliseconds, but it does the hours, minutes, seconds output at the end. It's not milliseconds.
That's the one that it's using.
Is that the one it's using?
Yeah.
Got it. So there's a in the same file datetime utility, there's a parse pick a day date function, but there's a typo in the actual function name. So it's parse pika day date. So there's no C, just a pika day. Like
Pokemon, isn't it?
Like the Pokemon.
Cool. Well, talking about time, we are slightly over, so I'm gonna drop off. But I'll leave this open if anyone wants to stay and chat. But I'll catch you all later.
Bye.
It won't let me leave.